You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Welcome back to another Cabral Concept. I'm Stephen Cabral, and today I'm really excited to be here. We have another episode of a Friday Review. Friday Reviews are some of my favorite episodes because I get to review a lot of the books that I've been reading, a lot that I recommend to friends, family, clients, coworkers, patients, you name it. And I also typically talk about a nutritional supplement that we use in my own practice, or maybe I've been experimenting with myself. And then one other tip, whatever it might be. And today is no different. I'm giving you a tip, actually, that many of my clients have used, kind of gotten away from the apps I've recommended, some of the Excel spreadsheets, things like that, and taken it back to pen and paper. And I'm going to show you some of those tips as well. So let's get started right now on something that's kind of near and dear to my heart. So a lot of times people think of natural health practitioners, maybe just went through a certification process or whatever it is, as like not dealing in science. And I don't think anything could be further from the truth. My education is really all science-based. It's going back through anatomy, physiology, kinesiology, oncology, toxicology, all the ologies. And that's basically the study of all of these things. We learn about pathophysiology, how the disease process essentially moves through the body, not necessarily root cause, but moves through the body. And then we learn the science in natural medicine, so we don't move to pharmaceuticals, which is perfectly acceptable for acute-based life-saving needs, not for chronic-based care, in my opinion. And what I do in natural medicine is I learned the science behind why these natural medicines work. And so what I want to do is just get it out there that everything that I give to you for information is proven by science. And if it's not, I tell you why I'm using it in my practice, the empirical and anecdotal evidence that I found, and that maybe in a couple decades will actually be proven or at least studied, because again, if I'm not using anything that can't be patented, a lot of times it's not bothered to be studied. But right now, whether you're watching this on video or listening by podcast, that's great either way. On my desk here, if you're watching my video, you can see there's a stack of, I just pulled out 5 books off my shelf. It's this combined, I would say, is somewhere around 8,000 pages of material. All of it, all science-based, and these are just 5 books, all based on clinical research showing that herbs, vitamins, good nutrition, all of these things do work, and that things that people just push to the side, a lot of medical doctors who just aren't open to it because they didn't learn it during their 2-3 years of education and their years 2 residency, decide that it doesn't have any medical bearing when there's nothing. You can't possibly study everything in 3 years of medicine. That's just the way it is. So it's all about continuing education, continuing renewal of your own interest in the medical field, and always being open to everything. So when people say things like small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or just bacterial overgrowth in general in the intestines, that candida, yeast, fungal-based overgrowth, we know that they exist because there are medical drugs for it called nystatin and diflucan and all sorts of other ones as well. But then on a functional-based level, on a what do you want to call it? Disease-based level, they still exist as well. They just haven't reached disease state. And so all of these things have been proven. Whether your medical doctor believes it or not, doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter because it's still backed up by science and it has been researched. There are over 1,000 different studies per day that come out, and I'm guaranteeing that no doctor, even someone who does as much research as myself, could possibly see all of it. So if someone brings something to me, I'm open to it. I really am. And so I just want to show you today. Some of these are a few of my favorites, and if you're in the health profession, you can dig into this material yourself, or if you're not, you can at least know that it does exist, it is here, and that a lot of natural health doctors or natural health practitioners have done the research. They've seen it, they know it works. What I'd like to say as well, before that, is you could simply go on PubMed, you could go on Google Scholar, or you could go on like Natural Standard Database. Those are just 3. And you can actually see if your doctor ever believes or says like, oh, that doesn't work, there's no science behind it. No, there is. There really is. They just don't know about it. And so you could go on one of those websites, simply type it in, and you would see all of the research and data behind all of those specific things. Everything we use for nutritional supplements and testing and all of that at our Boston practice is verified by science, by research. It is science-based medicine. It's just not pharmaceutical-based medicine. And again, that's okay. If there's a life-saving issue and you need pharmaceuticals, by all means, that you should do that. And of course, there's a lot of people who aren't they don't want to take the interest in healing themselves naturally. And of course, then we have drugs to help those people as well. So just a few of my favorites. Institute for Functional Medicine. If you're a health practitioner, I think you have to be a health practitioner to join. But if you're a health student as well, going to medical school, that's great. You could vary and open up your knowledge base by looking into the Institute for Functional Medicine. I am a practitioner with them, and it's one of the subspecialties. So I really consider what I do to be the future of medicine. I got into it with the ability to really choose whatever I wanted to study. And so what I do is I take the best of the new, which is functional-based medicine lab testing, and I combine that with a diverse background in nutrition, but also ancient studies as well. And so right now I'm holding a book on Ayurvedic research. So people said, oh, there's no basis for that. It's 6,000 plus years old. Yes, it is. It is the original form of medicine and still exists to this day because it works. And so I combine that with state-of-the-art medicine. And when you do that, you understand how the body works at the deepest level. And so this book right here is 600 pages just on Ayurvedic medical research, meaning that this research right here proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that Ayurvedic medicine also works. I just think that's a great thing for you to know, that as I'm teaching you, it is the truth. It is verified by science, by research-backed medicine, and it's things that I do with my own family, and I would only do the best for my own family. Of course, everybody only wants the best for their family, and again, I was able to study whatever I wanted to. I had that ability, which was a really nice thing because I went to school a little bit later after getting out of undergrad. So I worked for a while, and I said, okay, I'm going to take time now to fully heal myself and then be able to teach all of this to others, and it's really a blessing. And then here I have physician's desk reference for herbal medications, showing you that it's been studied, contraindications for drugs, disease and prevention, about 1,200 pages of research on different both conventional and naturopathic medicine, and then modern nutrition and health and disease, about 2,200 pages just on vitamins and nutrients and how they help heal the body. And this wasn't written by naturopathic doctors. These were actually written by MDs and medical researchers, PhDs. So it's completely unbiased. And I just want you to know that this is the real deal. This is the real research. Please do just simple searches for yourself, but do understand that the research is there. It exists and it's yours. It's open. It's free to the public to check out. All right. Yeah, a little bit of a rant, but it's something I'm very passionate about because a lot of times people say, oh, well, that's not science-based. And I said, it's as science-based as anything else. All right, I'll move on. So the next one is actually vitamin D that I use in my own practice. And I can't believe I've gone this long without really talking about vitamin D. And the reason is that, there are probably as much research as anything else is going into vitamin D right now in terms of anti-cancer, in terms of immunity, in terms of weight loss. If you don't optimize your vitamin D, you're just missing out. It's one of the easiest things to do. And if you can't get sun during the winter for more than 6 months of the year, really October through May, above Atlanta, Georgia, that median line, then you are missing out on the benefits of living to your fullest potential. And again, vitamin D, the range is typically around 32 to 100, and you really want to be, for optimal health, between 50 and 70. Some people say between 50 and 80. You don't really want to go to 100 unless you're doing a specific cancer-based treatment or something like that, and you certainly don't want to be below 30. But I do vitamin D lab testing all the time. I'm actually going to create a whole future podcast just on vitamin D and the many benefits and how you can maximize your use of it. But very simple, under $100 to test your vitamin D. Health insurance doesn't cover it, I don't believe, anymore. Maybe because it works, I'm not sure. We have a liquid form for kids and adults. You can put it right in your smoothie if you want. And then we just have these tiny, tiny capsules. The nice thing about vitamin D is they're the smallest capsules you can really get. How much should you take? Well, it's pretty much dictated by the amount that you need, right? That's what supplements are for. So what I would say is you're going to lab test first, and then if not, you'll just take a standard dose of about 2,000 to 3,000 IUs per day and see where that takes you. I'm going to definitely definitely do a whole podcast on this, so I don't want to overdo it. But please, if you are not taking vitamin D right now and you're not at your best wellness or weight loss, I do really recommend looking into it. A nice, good preservative, corn-free brand as well, okay? Always use a functional medicine brand. Do recommend that. All right, last part today on this Friday review. Again, I could do a Friday review for probably like 2 hours. Eco Notes. Before I even go to like this little journal that I thought was pretty cool, it's basically a moleskin type journal. It fits right in your pocket, and a lot of my clients have enjoyed keeping this little notebook in their pocket besides just having their phone, so they can kind of get away from tech. I've recommended the Lose It app before for tracking your meals and all of that, but when I ask a client to keep a food journal, and sometimes they don't want to do it on their phone. Sometimes they actually want to be a little bit more tactile and write it down right in this journal, because I also ask, what was your sleep like the night before? Were you traveling? Were you extra stressed? Were you constipated? All of those specific things. And they can just make simple notes in this little journal. And again, if you're just listening to this on podcast, fantastic. This is just basically a 3x5 journal, moleskin journal that you can keep in your pocket. And I also just want to bring this one to you. It's called Eco Notes. And it says Woodstock right in the cover. There's a little tree, and I believe they use it. It says handmade in Italy. I believe it's all recycled based material. Please don't quote me on that. I'll look that up. I just thought this was a really nice, well-made notebook, and it's a soft cover one, so you can keep it right in your pocket, and it can just be more pliable and bend with your leg, and you can just keep one page for each day. And again, remember, you don't have to journal forever, but I do ask clients to keep it for the first 21 to 28 days to not only keep themselves accountable, but also allow me to look at the journal, so that if I have to make any tweaks, or our nutritionist on our team has to make any tweaks, they can just look back and they can see the correlations with how you're doing, what your weight loss is, or if you're experiencing, headaches, skin conditions, cramping, any of those specific things, and they can start to look at your nutrition. I hope you enjoyed today's Friday review as much as I always do, and I'm back real soon on another Cabral concept.
Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp parts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to StephenCabral.com/resources.